So you're going to do your own tire rotation. If you're doing the 5-tire rotation, like we are, you got to start with getting the spare out. The way you do that, if you've never done it before, there's your handle. That gets this released. We have a tonneau cover on ours, so we can't open ours all the way, unfortunately, but that is enough still to do it, so no problem. If you've got a organizer, one of our organizers in your bed, you already are familiar with this area, but this is holding all our tow stuff. Get that out of the way. Okay. Get our ball hitch out. All right, if you didn't know this, that's a little hex right there, and you use it to get this center post out of the way. So that's just a handle there. Once it starts to get loose, you can get that by hand. We'll come back to that in just a second. We're going to pull all of our tire changing kit out. So this is the factory stuff. Get that out of the way. Now here we are. So you can just unthread this rod, since you used that hex there. Unthread this rod. There we go. Out of the way. Just set that aside. Now you can pick up the tire and drag it out. You'll want to do all this while the suspension is still low, because when you go to do your tire rotation, you're going to have to raise the suspension and basically lock it up when it in the settings, and we'll show you that. But you want to get this out before it's all raised up and it's harder to work with. So get that out. And then this is the factory kit. I think this is like optional now, but on ours I have 3D printed a spacer so I can use a regular floor jack, because otherwise it looks like that. So I printed that spacer. So that's that. All right, let's get to this tire rotation. The first thing you got to do is to get your suspension raised up. Step one of that, you're going to go into off-road and then go to all-terrain. Now this is a first generation R1T quad motor. I don't know if yours might look a little different, so I'm just trying to help you if yours is like this. So from down here, you're just going to hit that, hit off-road. It's going to pop up a little thing and ask you if you really want to go off-road. Say, yeah, whatever. You're going to be in all-terrain. And then with our height, we're going to raise it all the way up. Then the next part is going into the settings, vehicle, service, tire change. When you do that, now it shows up here, and we are fully raised up and we are ready to do our tire rotation. Now that we got our suspension raised up, next thing we want to do is put our wheel chocks in. So I've got these big old rubbery, blocky rascals. I'm going to throw it in here. And the whole point of this, the rear tire does have a park brake on it, but if it were to start to hover a little bit, it could slide forward and then jeopardize your jacks on the other side. So I'm just going to put these in, make sure they're good and firm on this side. Now we can work on the other side. So we've got the other side chalked up, ready to go. We're on this side working. I've already popped our little covers down. You can take a look at how they work. They have these little tethers on them, and the tethers go like together basically. So the front swings to the back swings to the front. All right. I 3D printed these pucks. There are pucks available on the internet, but they seem to be made in China, and you are using magnets. Some of them are using an O-ring to make them stay up in there. But for me, I made mine squeezable. You can see that that's an intentional crack. Mine's squeezable, and you just put it up in here. So you just line up the hole and stab it up in there, and that's it. Now you'll take your floor jack and lift up on that. We're going to do one front and rear, and we're going to use 2 floor jacks at the same time to bring this whole side up and do our rotation. We've got both of our floor jacks in place now. We're using AC hydraulic front and rear. So the jack goes to a rubber puck, which came with the jack. It's not like you got to buy anything extra. The rubber puck is up against our 3D printed puck, and then the 3D printed puck obviously penetrates through the bodywork and puts the pressure on the steel body of the Rivian. So that is how you get it all set up. Don't mind the cardboard. I have all the cardboard down because the AC hydraulics have little rubber O-rings on the wheels, and I'm just trying to save that from getting roughed up on this rough concrete. These are made for like shop concrete, which is smooth, not this rough stuff like a driveway. That's all. I'm just trying to protect my wheels a little bit longer. But what we've been doing is, a couple strokes over here on this side. You can see that given. And then a couple over here. As you may know, maybe don't know, the Rivian is quite heavy with the batteries and the motors and everything. It is a very heavy truck. So, like, substantially heavier than something like the Jimny or the Yaris. It is more on par with something like a Ford Super Duty with a diesel in it.
so it is quite heavy. But anyway, what we're doing, I get a little bit of movement back here, and then I just come over here, get a little more movement up on the front until we get both tires up, and at that point we're ready to take the impact to it, get these wheels off, get them rotated, and get it back down safely. So that is what we're about to do. Using our 22 millimeter socket, we now have the front and rear tires swapped, and you can see they're clearly up off the ground here. Now, the thing is, when we go to lower this now, I want to try to do, just like we lifted in unison, I kind of want to do the same in lowering it. If I were to come in here and let this one down all the way, that's going to put a lot of pressure on this jack. If you had bigger, stouter jacks, maybe it'd be all right, but I don't want to risk it, so it's just going to be a dab this way and a dab this way, or if you got somebody that could help you, both of you just go down at the same time, just to keep from stressing the jacks, the pucks, you know, the whole ensemble. So that's how we're going to do it. On our tire rotation, we're doing all 5 tires, so that means we've pulled the spare out of the back. And they don't give, Rivian, they don't give you 5 center caps. You're going to have to harvest one to put into what was the spare. The way I did it, just something wood, or it could be anything soft, to help press this out. Now, if you look at this, you can see it's got all these little fingers on it, and you don't want to tweak one of those fingers. So I just kind of took this, poked it through. So the way that went was, this was standing up, poke it through just like that, and I'm going to stick this out of the way. Now we've got our center, and this is our spare. When you're doing a 5 tire rotation, the spare came out, went to the right rear. We're just going to pop this baby in, and we'll have it. Perfect. The last thing we got to make sure we take care of is getting these lugs torqued. 190 Newton meters is what I found somewhere along the way. I don't know, online, owner's manual, somewhere along the way, and I put it in my notes. So that's where we are. We're set to 190. Let's get started and snug these babies up.
Now that you got all your lugs torqued, next thing we got to do is just get our suspension down and get our spare tire loaded up. So obviously you're going to be in vehicle and service. You're going to turn off the tire change. It's probably not going to go down enough on its own. You might have to take it for a little bit of a spin just to get the suspension back down. But turning that off and coming in here to your drive, put it on road, whatever. And once you go for a drive, if you're like me, once you get back, you're going to hit, when you park, it's going to go into the kneel mode, and that makes loading that big fat spare tire quite a bit easier. And that'll have you. So lug nuts are torqued, your spare tire's back in the back, your 5 tire rotation is done. You might want to come in here to the about and just document your odometer, just so you have record of when you did your rotation, and that'll have it. Enjoy your Rivian.